Yeah, as technology is changing the fundamental, the fundamental building blocks of society, then our narratives have to change. And here it's really important to remember where our narratives they come from. The narratives we have today, for the most part, are created in the industrial era. And one of the narratives that I find oddly, I mean, it's still prevalent, is this idea of left and right, and or blue and red. And this is not, that was made a lot of sense in the industrial era, but it doesn't make much sense today, because what does it really say? It talks about a division where you on the one hand have capitalists that make the producers of the goods, the ones that are in power, and then we have the people who are receiving a salary. And today, the most powerful capital equipment you can own is a PC. A PC has for many years been this piece of equipment that you can generate most value with, period. So, and most of us receive a salary, so this is it's not a very useful way of looking at the world. Here, in my opinion, or the way I see it, is we have 4 fault lines, really important ones, and it's true one of them has to do with inequality. Inequality, a growing inequality, in particular within nation states, is a really big deal, and that's that's a favorite one for the political left, the old political left. But that's important for everybody, because if we have too much inequality, you have instability, and it's bad for the economy. It doesn't matter how you look at it, this is not a good thing. And one good thing in the big picture is that the global inequality is actually decreasing. But we have some local or regional very big challenges in particular. I mean, you can see in the U.S. and in the U.K. Things have really there's really a big difference between the very few that are getting fewer and fewer, and the most others that are not having very much. Now, the other big division line, or the other big battlefield is freedom, and that's a favorite of the traditional old right. But freedom today has to do with privacy of data and security. It's cyber privacy and it's cyber security. And you cannot have individual freedom today unless you have protection of your privacy, and also protection of your right to share and your right to use things that you have made. So it very much has to do with legislation that enables us to keep our fundamental human rights. Now, the next one I will mention is environmental issues, and never before has this human activity meant so much for our environment, and we are in the middle of yet another mass extinction of species here on the Earth that's caused by us. We are having a major impact on the climate, and how you want to deal with that is another big battleground. There's still, I'm sorry, idiots that doesn't want to believe that we actually have a huge impact on our environment. Fortunately, it's a dying race, but that is a really big issue. So depending on how you deal with that issue, that will say something about where you are politically. And this is traditionally something that the Greens like to focus on. Now, the last big issue has to do with globalization, and globalization means how you in this particular context is how information and communication technology has brought us close together, and the cost of moving both materials and people over large distances is very inexpensive. So that means that cultures that has been developing over eons, I mean thousands of years, they suddenly becoming neighbors. So how we deal with that is a great challenge also, and how you come out on some people, they absolutely hate people that are different from themselves, and other people love it. And we can see all these nationalist movements that are coming up many places in the world today. They are fueled by this big issue, and it's a complex problem how you want to deal with it. On the one hand, you cannot. Now, for instance, we are here in Denmark, we have a welfare state. We cannot feed everybody from Africa or from the Middle East, so we cannot just let everybody come in on the one hand, but on the other hand, we have to help when people are in dire straits. So the balance on how we deal with that is of course complex, like all the other issues are. But these are the four things that we should think about. And that's also why in this country anyways, it doesn't matter in Denmark whether we have the left-wing or right-wing government. It matters for a few, sometimes fraction of a percentage point of where the tax is, and which group will benefit and which group will not. And for these people, of course, it has a huge impact. But everybody pretty much everybody in the Western world, or at least in Europe here, we believe that we want to have a liberal society with some degree of welfare, and where we help each other also if somebody gets sick. So it's I'm looking forward to the day when the press and I guess the rest of us figure out that these are the issues, so we don't just try to paint our political discussions in red and blue, because it's not productive.